Again, I'm welcoming each one of you. Good evening, and thank you for joining in today's webinar, which is all about inner child healing for for experiencing happiness. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Zinnia Bharucha. I am a holistic psychologist and a relationship counselor here at Illuminations. Before we go ahead into the experiential part, before each one of you experience the meditation, I wanted to actually put this question forward to each one of you so that we can structure the meditation, the session, and we can make it very specific for each one of you. So my question is, if each one of you can just take a few minutes out and put it down in the chat box, that what do you feel each one of you is feeling currently that's stopping you from feeling happy completely? If you could just use the chat box and put that down. And for those of you who would like to use the audio option, simply please raise your hand and we will unmute you. I'm going to wait for a few more minutes as each one of you is putting down the specific things or obstacles or hindrances that are stopping you from feeling happy. Please let me know. And these could be specific things such as issues in my career are not making me happy, or relationship problem, or I just had a major fight with a close friend, or my health is not doing really well, or the current world situation, the global situation is making me unhappy. Absolutely anything. But let's narrow it down and keep it focused from mentioning 1 to a maximum of 3 points or 3 obstacles or 3 barriers or 3 things that each one of you feels is stopping you from achieving that happiness completely. If it failed or time was wasted and you feel that that is somewhere stopping you from happiness, excellent. Thank you for being so specific. Self-confidence, lack of self-confidence, okay. Communication difficulty, health issue, okay. Can you repeat the question? Yes, as a matter of fact. Please put down what are those things or obstacles, a maximum of 3, that you feel are currently stopping you from experiencing or feeling completely happy. Somebody has mentioned issues to manifest, meet a kind man, to be in a serious relationship with. Okay, all right, I hear you. I'm going to give some more time for the new people that have joined in. Homesickness, yes, a lot of a lot of people worldwide are stuck up in certain places owing to the global situation and are not able to go back to their home place. That's of course leading to a lot of homesickness, yes. So issues are ranging from various aspects. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit more for the other people that have just joined in as well. Please narrow down, structure down, what is it that's stopping you from feeling completely happy? Laziness, okay, procrastination. Yes, and there is this sudden spike right now in a lot of people, which is making them procrastinate away. And I feel somewhere that the current global situation, the uncertainty with it, the uncertainty in different aspects that it's brought forward is also um, somewhere or the other interlinked with this behavior of procrastination. My feelings about family, my slow progress, not doing the things that really serve my purpose. Okay, excellent. Fear of change, unknown, taking a leap of faith. This is so important and so crucial. As a matter of fact, I have been dealing with so many clients currently who feel fear of the unknown, who feel fear, uncertainty, who feel that how will they adapt, you know, because things are changing rapidly, you know, every single day things are shifting and we're in this very uncertain period. So yes, I understand. Victim feeling relationship, expect quick desired results in career and intact all areas of life, non-acceptance of outcomes if not desired. Yeah, a lot of us, along with the fear of the unknown and the unexpected and not being able to come out of our comfort zone, are also trying to find that balance between trying to control things and holding on to them, and you know, being able to surrender and being able to move ahead. A lot of us are trying really hard to find their balance and are not able to also in such trying times. Low self-confidence, overthinking, failed relationship. Okay, all right. Gonna wait for the last few minutes if there's anybody else who wants to put their points down. Difficulties to maintain friendships, feeling like an imposter. Okay. Yeah, learning how to surrender has been a major one. And yes, thank you for agreeing on that with me. A lot of us are finding it really difficult to surrender and, you know, just move and flow with the flow and, you know, help ourselves heal and help ourselves progress. And I feel somewhere that today's meditation is going to help a lot of you also progress and grow ahead the right way. And it's going to help a lot of you move ahead the right way as well. And of course, surrender. Somebody's mentioned able to let go. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to wait for the last 2 minutes for anybody else who would like to also contribute and share in their specific points. Okay, all right. So first and foremost, thank you everybody for sharing this and for structuring down the specific areas or issues that each one of you are facing that you need help around, and that you feel somewhere or the other are blocking each one of you from experiencing that ultimate happiness, from experiencing that complete sense of bliss, and you know, from being happy from within. Now, why is it so important? Why is it that, you know, we're doing this today? Why is it that I'm talking about this and we're going to go ahead and experience, you know, the session at a slightly later point? And why is it so important to feel happy? Simply because everything that we want in life, you know, everything, whether it's connected with our future goals, whether it's connected with the current situation, whether it's being able to, you know, surrender or, you know, to let go or to try and flow or to improve in the relationship aspect or to work on our communication or to improve our health, all of it somewhere at the end of the day has one specific goal, has one specific agenda. Everything that each one of us do, whether it's from earning money, or being financially stable, or from getting that right job, or for ensuring that we get that sense of respect from our colleagues, or for ensuring that we feel loved and accepted, or for improving that relationship, it's all boiling down to the main aspect at the end of the day, and that is to feel happy. Why is it that, we're going out of our way to communicate, to ensure that we're understood? Why is it that we do things, for ourselves or for others, for our family members? Because at the end of the day, again, each one of us want to experience happiness. And with that, that was the reason why I wanted to do this highly powerful meditation come session with each one of you, to contribute in my own way and to ensure that each one of us experiences that sense of happiness, especially in such trying times that each one of us are in. So, before we move ahead in the meditation, I'm going to ask each one of you, what do you understand from the term inner child? Because a lot of you, I'm aware, are new on this platform. You're interacting with me for the first time. You're new to the whole world of healing and, self-care and love and everything. What do you understand from inner child? Feel free to put that down in the chat box. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just to, communicate this and help each one of you understand this better. What do you understand from the term inner child? What do you feel it's about? What do you feel it's focused around? I'm going to wait again for a few minutes so that each one of you can go ahead and let me know. Inner child, how we felt as a child. For me personally, recently, how I behaved as a child with situations is kind of similar now. So most of my reactions were flight mode, and sadly now I do not know else. This is beautiful in itself. Thank you, first and foremost, for deriving the courage to even talk about this and accepting this. This is connected with a very important aspect that you mentioned, and that is you're still behaving the way that you identified your inner child and the behavior that your inner child had. So thank you for sharing this. As I explain this further, it will make more sense. Our feelings, subconscious during childhood, how we perceive them, felt it during childhood. Thank you. This is again beautiful as well. This explains it in a very simple manner. Yes, it is the unhealed part of me, of my childhood. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. I'm going to wait for some more time to see if there are any other responses. Inner child is the little girl or little boy in us that plays out every time a situation triggers us. Beautiful. I am so happy to see that so many of you are aware about inner child and about the whole theory and about the aspect. Okay, waiting for one last minute to see if anybody else has any other comments. A lot of you are commenting in, and I'm happy to see the response. Any hidden, unhealed issue of childhood which is still in our subconscious? Yes. This is a different question. When I asked to remember a time I felt happy, I feel a bit struggling to find a specific one, because it always comes with some negative feeling. Negative feeling happened around the happy one. How can I help myself Even when I face a happy moment now, I feel not to experience it completely. I think about all the loved ones less fortunate or are in distress. I try to be humble without celebrating my happiness. Is this stemming from my childhood? This is an excellent question. Thank you for first and foremost asking this. This could be stemming from your childhood, definitely. It could be stemming from a core inner child that is traumatized and that is hurt. Now, what happens when a core inner child is traumatized and hurt? Um, the core inner child shadows our behavior in such a manner that even as adults, if we try to experience happiness, we are unable to because the core inner child is constantly hammering us, from the past hurt. And it's all very deeply rooted in, it's all at a very subconscious level. So we don't even realize this, that something like this is happening, but it just tends to trigger, influence, and it completely blinds us off. I'll explain this in a little bit more depth as well as we move on. Feeling disappointed when adults do not keep their promises and still have the same behavior. Set of beliefs that have been penciled in us, making us grow up to believe them and live by them despite them not being fully right. Absolutely. However, what we need to understand here is, why did we end up listening to those beliefs in the first place? Because it came from certain specific adults that we encountered and lived with in our childhood, that were really important to us, that made us think, feel, believe that it's the truth, it's the reality. That's when it made us accept those beliefs in the first place. Duality: child gets hurt or afraid, etc., but the adult self is mature and practical. Yes, the adult self is mature and is practical. The child is that aspect that gets hurt and afraid, but why is it that the child is getting hurt and afraid? Again, I'll come to that point. Inner child is the imprint of your education and parents, part of your karma, can be positive or negative, but will be the thing we need to work on later on. Not only, but is one thing we need to work on. Yes, while I agree with you completely, I would like to now, at this point of time, explain the concept of inner child in a little bit more depth so that each one of you gets a lot more clarity. Thank you, first of all, for sharing this. This shows that each one of you has worked quite a bit on your own selves. In simple language, inner child is simply that childlike aspect within each one of us. It can also be termed as the sub-personality within each one of us. Now, this is something that psychology, healing, pioneers, have talked about, commented about inner child. There is so much research, there's so much talk, there are so many workshops, there are so many things that are already talked about, for the topic inner child. But it's important to understand that an inner child is not just an inner child that we've experienced in our childhood. Yes, a core inner child or a major, really primary inner child, an inner child that is really strong, stems from our childhood, definitely, especially in the formative years, right from the time that we're born as an individual till 10 years of our age. That's when we form our core inner children. Core inner children are basically inner children that get generated because of our environment, our circumstances, our interaction with our primary caretaker, for most of us, our mother, and then, our interaction with our environment as a total. And it can lead to, or can have, various limiting beliefs. An inner child can have various behavioral aspects that it has adopted without it realizing. Okay, now, like I said, these are core inner children that get generated in the age group of 0 to 10 years. However, what is important to understand is that as we keep growing in age and as life happens to us, it's not that our inner children stop getting generated. So for example, if you are 60 years old, you can still have an inner child that's 48 and that's severely traumatized and that's severely affected and that's severely hurt. Okay, so the reason why it's called an inner child is simply because it's that inner aspect within each one of us that simply needs our help, that needs our attention, that needs to get healed, that is simply wounded at deeper levels. Okay, like I said, it can be absolutely any age, just that the core inner children are in the age group of 0 to 10. Now, why is it important for us to deal with these inner children? Simply as some of you pointed out, these inner children tend to trigger us, influence our behavior, and make us respond and react even as adults. So, for example, as the current adult, if I have an inner child, a 15-year-old inner child that in her teens was traumatized because of a failed relationship, the next time I try to get in a new relationship, a new romantic relationship, and if my partner tends to behave in a manner that tends to trigger me off, even if it's very minor, the 15-year-old Zinnia that was triggered and that experienced failure in her romantic relationship will immediately get triggered off and will make the adult me also respond, react, and behave in the same way. Not only that, because she, the 15-year-old, is so intensely affected, traumatized, and hurt that as the adult, I am not able to differentiate the behavior from my current partner. And as a result, I get even more triggered. So, a lot of us, when we are experiencing a fight or an argument, it just simply shuts our brain off. Or for a lot of us, when we're trying to convey something or we're trying to prove ourselves, our behavior becomes extremely irrational and we are not able to even identify as to what is it that's happened in those few moments or seconds. That's simply because it's our inner child from the past that's triggering us off and that's taking us over even as current adults. Now, some classic ways or signs that each one of you can use in your own lives to identify whether you have wounded inner children is simply changes, sorry, is simply changes in terms of your behavior. So behavioral changes such as feeling highly irritable or feeling extremely upset or feeling really hurt or not even giving the opposite person a chance or trying to listen to them or being very defensive, or eating issues such as eating excessively, using food as a way of coping up, so binge eating, constantly getting cravings for junk food and eating outside, or for caffeine, or completely opposite, and that is not eating at all, getting anorexic. So that in itself is also a classic sign. Another classic sign that can show that you could be having a wounded inner child is sleeping patterns shifting. So experiencing insomnia, that is experiencing very little sleep, or having erratic sleep schedules, or your mind feeling that it's continuously working, ruminating constantly, not being able to switch off, not getting that enough adequate healthy amount of sleep. Even if you slept feeling that, the next day that you're still feeling exhausted, that your mind was still working, are also classic signs. Some other classic signs that your inner children are wounded could also be closing, shutting, withdrawing yourselves off in relationships, in career aspects, towards new opportunities, not being able to step out of your safety net, of your comfort zone, closing off to the first signs of criticism. These are also classic signs. Of course, anger issues, addiction towards substance or addiction towards absolutely anything else are also classic signs of wounded inner children. To simplify this even further, an inner child can get generated because of any issue that you have faced in life that is important for your mind, and the intensity is so high for your mind that it leads that certain age you to freeze or to experience trauma in that certain age bracket. So for example, giving an even more simpler example, if you are very happy as a child, but at the age of 18, you experience the first biggest failure of your life, definitely an inner child will get formed at the age of 18 that felt that sense of failure, that established limiting beliefs connected with that, and is still suffering. Now, the next time, even if you are currently 30, the next time, if as the 30-year-old you remotely come across something that makes you feel that you are failing, immediately that's going to trigger off the 18-year-old you that experienced failure, and that's going to make you behave in similar ways. That's also the reason why a lot of us don't know how to behave in similar situations, and most importantly, a lot of us tend to be involved in continuous patterns. So I get a lot of clients that ask me that I am in this constant vicious pattern or cycle of attracting abusive partners, or of being in toxic relationships, or of being constantly ignored by my partner, or I'm in this constant cycle where my boss is mentally torturing me, or I'm in this constant cycle where I'm trying really hard to express myself out, but my relationship with my father or mother is just not improving. That's simply because these wounded inner children again take over, get triggered, affect us, and ensure that we continuously get involved in such cycles and patterns as present as current adults, and help us in attracting even such future cycles, which is why it is extremely crucial for each one of us to work with our wounded inner children. Okay, so at this point of time, is anybody having any question about everything that I've shared today? If any of you have specific situations that you would like to share with me at this point of time, please feel free to again use the chat box and put your questions down, put your comments down. If you feel that you need clarity about certain specific situations, please go ahead and also put them down. Then we'll be moving towards the experiential part. Really nice explanation, thank you. You're most welcome. So we can have multiple inner child per the number of trauma, absolutely. Now, what is important to understand over here is that the minute you end up identifying which inner children are there that need help through adequate therapy, you can actually help yourself come out. Not only that, you can help yourself progress ahead. So many of my clients that have experienced immense signs of trauma, anxiety, depression as well, stress, panic attacks, relationship issues, after dealing with their own inner children in sessions, they've helped themselves not only recover, it's brought about a 365-degree change in their behavior, in the way they perceive life, simply because the limiting beliefs with which they were working earlier don't apply to them anymore. Okay, are there any more questions? Could you explain the concept of integrating the inner child? Yes, certainly. So the minute you end up identifying that there is a troubled or a traumatized inner child in therapy, and this is in-depth therapy, it's not simply meditation or any self-help exercise that you've done. I'm not against any of that, please understand. But the reason why I say it's in-depth therapy is because our core inner children need in-depth therapy to help them release limiting beliefs. So you need the help of a professional therapist to do that. Now, coming back to your question, through healing, when you've identified your inner child and the trauma, we help you release that. Not only that, after it is released, the inner child starts moving, shifting, and starts adopting its true, authentic, positive energy of change and healing. When that happens, we integrate the inner child back as therapists in our specific clients within each one of you. And that's how your healed inner child now brings forward the insight and awareness that you need as the adult to move ahead. So, for example, coming back to the same example I gave about the 18-year-old me, in healing, when the 18-year-old me releases the feeling of failure, the sense of trauma, the limiting beliefs she generated with that, after that she adopts her true, authentic, positive energy. If I am loved, I am, accepted, I am not a failure, things like that. Then when she's merged, she helps me as the adult now attract more harmonious relationships, now attract more positive circumstances and situations. When there are multiple inner children for the same thing, is it enough to heal the youngest inner child? Simply no, because when you're healing the youngest inner child, of course, you're healing the core inner child. However, you still need to interact and deal with the remaining inner children simply because they are also the ones that need your attention. So to simplify this, I'll give you an example. For example, if your knee is hurt, you need to look and focus on the entire knee region. Yes, you focus on the main spot in the knee that's hurt, but you also focus on the surrounding spots in the entire knee so that your knee can heal as a complete unit. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Is it related to the past ties like cutting cords? Cord cutting is a specific technique that we use. You can use cord cutting, but it really depends on the version that's coming up. What is your version that's feeling? Why is your version feeling that? Usually you use cord cutting for your specific version who has a problem or has an issue or is facing abuse or things like that with somebody else. So it does apply to inner child, but not specifically, it's not specifically used for every inner child that comes across. Is it dangerous to leave a half-healed inner child when doing a meditation therapy? What do you mean by that? If you could simply explain. Simply because how are you determining that your inner child is half healed? So if you're doing meditation therapy and your inner child is popping up with your therapist or with your own self, if it's a guided meditation, you definitely work on that version. But if after that your version is still not feeling completely healed, please immediately connect in with us, with me, at Illuminations, so that I can or we can help you out in a completely intense one-to-one way. Simply because your version that needs complete attention can be catered, with somebody like me who's completely well versed in this subject and area and can help you out from releasing that trauma completely. So I hope that also answers your question. Are there any other questions? Anything else that anyone would like to ask? Please feel free. Go ahead, let me know. Okay, I'm going to wait for the last 1 minute for any other comments or queries, and then we'll be moving on to the experiential bit. Okay. All right. So I'm going to request each one of you to make yourselves comfortable. If you feel you want to sit back with adequate back rest, go ahead and do that. For those of you who feel the need to lie down, please go ahead and do that as well. That's completely fine. You choose. However, please ensure for the next half an hour, nobody is disturbing you. Also, let me please inform each one of you, the next part is a guided meditation. So please use it for your own selves. And after you end up identifying your versions and you feel that they need help, feel free to use this meditation as many number of times as you feel the need to. Even post that, if you realize that no, the issues are much more in depth or that you're still getting triggered off, simply connecting with me and do an in-depth session, because like I said, it could be a core inner child that's actually needing your help. And a lot of times, most of the times, core inner children don't immediately come up within us simply because they're so traumatized, they're so hurt, and they need genuine help. They need to first know and understand that you're there to actually understand and be there and support them as the adult that you are. So that is something that can be worked on completely in a one-to-one session with me. Okay, having made that clear, is it possible that you cannot identify your inner child? It is possible. However, in these many number of years and with dealing with so many clients, I have not ended up identifying or meeting any individual that has not actually interacted with their inner child. Simply because the inner child is your own version, it's your own aspect in energy form. You know yourself the best way. So it's definitely there and it will definitely show itself to you, simply because these are versions that are crying out for help, that actually need you to pay attention to them. So like coming back to the same knee example, if your knee is hurt and pain, it will tell you, right? Your body will show a signal out to you that look here, I'm in pain, I'm hurt. Then whether you want to look at it or not is a different story, but it will still highlight the pain out to you. Something like that. Okay, all right, moving on to the experiential bit. If there are any more questions, please feel free to put them down, but I will be looking at them in the end. Make yourselves comfortable, everybody, and I'm going to request each one of you to start, please, taking in 3 deep breaths. So keeping your eyes shut, start breathing in. Inhale in through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. Completely relax. And take your time. As you're breathing in, consciously bring your attention on your own self. Focus on your own being. As you're exhaling out, let go of all forms of thoughts, ideas, visuals, feelings that you might be feeling currently. Just let them pass. It's completely fine. And very slowly, today, allow yourselves to place your hands on that one specific body part which is drawing your attention. Can be absolutely any body part, doesn't really matter. You might get an idea that your hands need to go on a specific body part. You might get a visual of placing your hands on that specific body part. You might get a thought. Everything is completely fine. And take your time. And as each one of you is identifying and placing your hands on your specific body part, today, just take a moment and thank yourselves for allowing your own selves, your own versions, each one of you allowing yourselves to take the first step towards happiness, towards understanding, getting aware, and interacting with your own inner children, with your own versions. And very slowly, continuing with your deep breaths, continuing to place your hands on your specific body part. Today, see yourselves gradually going in an open space. An open space with a massive mountain or a huge hill at a slight distance from each one of you. And as each one of you is entering in your open space and you're standing in front of that hill or that mountain, continue to take a deep breath. Feel your complete energies and your senses within your own selves, in your own bodies. Take your time again, no hurry. And slowly feeling your complete energies. See yourselves slowly walking ahead towards that hill, towards that mountain. As you're walking, you're looking at the peak. And that's where your sense of happiness is currently. It's at that height, it's that far from you. As you're looking at that, your sense of happiness that's away, at that height, at that distance from you, looking at it, feeling it, sensing it, getting a thought, getting a visual about it, on the peak of that mountain, that hill. Today, again, inform yourselves that you choose to progress and move ahead, and that you're willing to go through this journey of experiencing that happiness that each one of you deserve truly and completely in every form and manner. And again, take your time, please. There is no hurry. Slowly, as you've informed yourself, you've looked at the peak, you've assessed the mountain or the hill, start walking on the path upwards towards that peak. Start taking your first few steps, continue to walk, walk, walk. As you're starting to walk and as you're moving ahead, notice the path, the way, the environment around this path that you're going, that's leading you towards that happiness. And keep walking till you encounter your very own version, standing on that path, trying to draw your attention. This could be a version that you're very familiar with. This could be a version that you never knew even existed. It could be a younger you, such as a 3-year-old you, a 15-year-old you, a 25-year-old you, or it could be you a few years down the line, such as the 43-year-old you, or the 55, or the 60-year-old you. It doesn't matter. But the minute you come across this version of you, please stop. Take note of this version. Observe this version from every aspect, from every angle. Notice how he or she is appearing visually. What is their attire like? What is his or her response and behavior like? What is his or her facial expression like? Is he or she acting in some manner, behaving in some way? Notice that as well. Continue with your deep breaths and take your time again. No hurry. And slowly, as each one of you is observing that version, your very own version, your very own aspect, go ahead and introduce yourselves out to this, your very own version, your very own aspect. Inform them that you're the current adult that's taken the first step towards receiving happiness today. Tell them that you would genuinely appreciate and request them for their support and help. See what is it that they're saying. Is that version, your very own part, is he or she responding, saying something back, behaving, not responding? What's happening? Notice and again take your time. See what is the version saying or showing or making you feel when you're asking it that which situation or what time frame are you connected with. See how old they are showing themselves to be. See which way they're explaining that situation out to you. Is it them highlighting that issue you faced in your first romantic relationship? Are they showing you how you suffered as a child in school? Are they showing you your first fight with your dear friend? Are they showing you how you were scolded with by your mom as a child? Are they showing you the first time you got sick as a teen? Or absolutely anything else? Keep that in mind. Respect and note everything that they're showing you. And see how they're feeling as well, connected with that specific situation. So for example, the first breakup, how is that making them feel? The first time they failed in that exam in school, what's happening to them? And where are they storing the energy of that in their body? And as you, as the current adult, you're taking note of everything that that version is showing you. Thank him or her today. If that version is allowing you to touch him or her, holding his or her hand, please inform them and request them to join you on this journey towards happiness that you're taking today, to join you towards climbing that remaining path on the mountain, helping you reach that peak or the hill. Slowly holding hands, taking a deep breath with your own version. Continue to walk ahead. Taking deep breaths as you're gradually continuing to walk ahead. Notice as to what's happening. Has the path changed? How far off are you from the mountain, from the peak, and absolutely everything else? And again, take your time. Continue to walk ahead till you reach halfway to around 75% of the path, and you encounter your second version. Now, some of you might find another version, some of you might not. For those of you who don't end up finding another version, keep walking ahead till you reach the very tip. Stop only till you find your next version. And for those of you who have found your other version, stop, pause, reflect, observe what is this version showing, highlighting, what situation is this version connected with. Again, what is this part of you feeling? How old is he or she? Again, take note of all of that. Notice where in their body is he or she feeling that specific emotion connected with that specific situation that he or she has highlighted out to you. And again, take your time. When you've completely taken into account everything that your version is sharing with you, once again inform this second version. Request this second version to also hold hands and to join you on your path towards the mountain peak that's now very near. And once again, taking deep breaths, gradually allow yourselves to move further up. Keep walking till you reach the very peak, the top of the mountain or the hill. And as you're reaching the mountain and the hill, keep walking ahead till you reach that spot where that complete sense of happiness is waiting for you. Today, with your versions holding hands, go near that spot and finally allow yourself, as well as your version or versions, to breathe and take in that complete sense of happiness, to heal completely. Take your time and feel this energy flowing within each one of you, in your systems, in your body, from the top of your head all the way down till your feet. And help both your versions or that single version that you encountered also feel this sense of happiness. Feel the sensations, the difference that's coming in your body, in your system, the shift that's happening as you're breathing in this sense of happiness within each one of you. First in the adult you, and as your versions are also breathing the same. And slowly, as your versions are healing, they will start merging and integrating within the current you, the adult you. Let them merge and integrate. See which part of your body are they going and settling in, the energy of your versions is coming in. And take in the insight, the awareness that they also brought in within you as they start to merge and integrate. Feeling your complete energy of healing within yourselves. Slowly at this point of time, see this happiness being one with every cell, every muscle, and every fiber of your own being. And when each one of you has completely felt it, you can slowly open your eyes. Take your time, help yourselves reorient back in. There's no hurry. Take as much time as you may feel the need to. And let me know in the comments section if any of you have any queries about this guided meditation session. Please also let me know about things that you would like to share that you observed about your own versions. How did your versions respond, react, interact, behave? Let me know of that as well. And if there are specific things that you still need to understand, feel free to put them down also. I'm going to wait for a few minutes to see if there are any comments, any inputs, or any queries. Okay, I'm going to wait for the last 1 minute for any queries, any inputs at all, if there are. Some days mention bottom of the hill seems dark but safe. When I try to climb up, my inner child drag me with hand and asking me, is it not safe to go? That 5-year-old is commanding me. This is wonderful. This is very deep. I would suggest you to actually take an in-depth session with me, simply because the 5-year-old needs a lot more help. And the 5-year-old is definitely one of the core inner children that's popped up. So good work, but we need to work a little bit more in depth. I could see a recent years version where I was happy only at two instances. I saw partners with me. What does that imply? I am entangled with them. It could be entangled energy. However, I would suggest that you see what was it about those partners that brought them over there in the first place, in this place where you're actually trying to move ahead. There could be a lack of healthy boundaries, like you said, or there could be something else also that the partners are trying to highlight and show you that your versions need help for you from. The version of me that appeared was not a hurt version, it was actually a happy version that was guiding me towards the top. That is excellent. That simply means that the happy version is there to help you out. You can, as a matter of fact, interact even more with this happy, positive version of you to help you progress ahead in life. So, every single point of time, you end up experiencing a certain issue or a problem or a certain ailment that you need help with, you can actually seek help from this happy version. Coming from a fairly conservative background, a constant thread throughout childhood was the fear of hiding things from my parents, and that caused a lot of anxiousness. What I was and what my parents wanted me to be did not match. Agreed. And this is a very deeply rooted parent tape that is showing itself. I would again suggest and request you, as a matter of fact, to please approach me in. We need to do an in-depth session to help you release out the parent tape. Okay, so I am, as a matter of fact, for those of you who still need clarity, like I mentioned, you can book in an in-depth session with me. And I am also, as a matter of fact, going to do a very detailed workshop this Friday on inner child, which is going to help each one of you work with your own personal trauma issues that you ended up identifying right now, that you need more in-depth help with. For some of you identified your core inner children, we'll be targeting and working on them and helping them heal. The link for that is also just mentioned in the chat box. Feel free to register in for that workshop. Feel free to pass that on, and that will be a completely confidential workshop. Don't worry. I'll be working a lot more in depth with each one of you on your own personal issues that you've just highlighted. So feel free to use that in as well. It's on Friday, and if any of you need any more information, feel free to connect in with us, with me at Illuminations, and feel free to use this video on our Facebook page as well at a later point of time. I'm going to end this here. If anybody has any more questions, I'm going to wait for one last minute. If not, then I'll be ending it here. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care.